What's going on out there? It's another Wednesday evening here. MVP Sports Talk Radio live in Attleboro WARA Studios, 1320 AM. Me in studio right now, your host Nick. Gonna have Drew on the line very shortly, and we also have Tim coming in. Best wishes to Ryan, who's doing a little anniversary date to DC. And so it should be good for him and the girls. He won't be with us tonight, but hopefully we'll have him back soon. Just tuning back in from a little 2-week break here myself. But like I said, we'll be getting Drew on the line, and I believe he's calling right now, like clockwork. Drew, good sir, you are on the air.
Hey, what's going on, my boy, Nick LaVoy?
Oh, yeah, what's happening? Great timing. Just getting rocking and rolling here. We got Tim on the way shortly.
I love it, man. Shout out to our boy Ryan for a little anniversary action with Joe. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
Down in the southern corridor. Good stuff, man. But hey, I heard the kickoff to the show. I heard the shout out. I wanted to make sure that I was able to join you tonight for a little bit. And Nick, I got to tell you, I'm pretty fired up about the Celtics. I don't know. You and I don't usually go back and forth on the Celtics too much, so maybe I should wait until Tim gets in here. I'm really fired up about the Celtics tonight.
Well, I mean, we can wait on Tim for that, but I play off of any sport, soccer, basketball, whatever the case may be. I always get involved in, so I did watch it, and highly disappointed. And to me, that doesn't strike me as playoff play style.
Nick, I'm telling you right now, I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm hurt. I don't know what to say. I mean, they come out of the Toronto series, they take them to 7 games, they close it out, and now here we are against Miami. And, first of all, they go to overtime, right? Well, what's that all about? Let's get the job done in 4 quarters. We don't need to be going into overtime. And then we get Kemba Walker, and, this is supposed to be his time to shine. The guy's 1 for 9 from behind the arc, 6 of 19 from the floor, 19 points, respectable, 6 assists, respectable, grabbed a few rebounds, but he's a -4 plus minus. And when the game was in the balance, he really just didn't show up at all. And I want to know, when is the real Kemba Walker gonna show up for this series?
Yeah, I mean, and it kills me too because, it kills me because not only, you go in up 12 into the fourth, and you just let it tank, and it's like the chase game back and forth, and, they're up 3, then they get up 7, now they're back down to being up 2, and it's just like the constant letting them get back in the fight, and you don't do that in playoffs. You got to rely heavy on a defensive game. Maybe you run a 1-3-1 and just contain them strong. But some of the shots, man, like you can't be letting guys that are shooting 80% on the arc shooting on the arc. You know what I mean? There's just guys that are leaving open, and just defensively, it just seem like they just drop the ball entirely. And like I said, I'm not big on basketball, but I know if a guy's shooting 3 balls all night, we're not going to sit there and let them shoot wide open and have a field day, especially when we're only up 7 points game 1 of playoffs.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I totally agree. I mean, early in the beginning of the return to action, right, when they started, coming back into the bubble, we kind of had a debate back and forth. I don't know if we did it online or if it was in group chat, but, I was really talking a lot with Tim about Jimmy Butler. And was he a top 10 guy, and was Tatum a top 10 guy? And I think game 1 showed us that I was definitely wrong. Jimmy Butler is a top 10 player. In fact, if I could trade him straight up right now, I might trade Jason Tatum for this series anyway, not going forward, not to build the franchise, because ultimately I think Jason Tatum is a top 5 player in the league. But the difference is Jason Tatum is out there trying to look like a superstar, while Jimmy Butler is out there acting like a superstar. What I mean by that is Jimmy is taking uncontested shots or, making the right pass and making open baskets. Meanwhile, Tatum's forcing the ball up. He's shooting from 3, 4, 5 feet behind the arc. No ball movement. Once the ball gets into his hand, it's kind of like a black hole. And, look, I love Jason Tatum. In fact, I think I'm ordering a Jason Tatum jersey online later on tonight. And I'm going to wear it for the rest of the playoffs. I'm hoping the rest of the playoffs is going to be at least the rest of this series and then the championship final. But Jason Tatum is going to show up, man. It can't be just go out there and launch whatever shot you feel like. And what's with him, like, losing his handle on dribbles all the time? He kind of reminds me of Paul Pierce all of a sudden. Paul Pierce used to drive me crazy with that. You know, he would just take the ball, and then whoop, all of a sudden the other team's going the other way, and it was frustrating. And it's very frustrating watching Tatum do the same thing. And a lot like Pierce, you know, he can fire up that three-point shot. He can make his own shot, drive it to the basket. But, man, it really, really makes me feel like he has a long way to go when I start seeing him just kind of try to be the man, but his actions just aren't there. He just isn't making it happen. The execution, I should say, is not there. I just can't figure it out.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, and like I know I'll bring Tim in a second, and I don't know if he heard your comment, you kind of saying that you were wrong on Jimmy Butler, but you know, for me, my take is, you know, the three ball is stupid, but it is what it is at that point. You get into overtime, but they're shooting, you know, just simple boards off, you know, one leg, like they're just forcing it. You have 10 seconds of a shot clock. We're forcing like one-legged shots, like just humming it at the backboard. I mean, it just struck me as like, I mean, even rec league, high school league. It's just something to me that does not scream playoff basketball. It does not scream like, oh, we need to win this game. And it's just crazy to me to think that that's a major league sporting event and it's the playoffs of all. You know, maybe, I don't even know if a regular season game, if I take the three ball there, but you know, for playoffs, my God, you have 5 seconds. You better drive the paint. That's my take.
You know, the thing that's most frustrating for me is that Brad Stevens continues to allow them to just basically do whatever they want out there. You know, he's got his 5 starters, and they just go out there and just do whatever they feel like. I don't feel like they're calling plays for anybody. And nobody's running screens. They're just going out there, and they're playing a lot of ISO ball. And, you know, if Tatum hits a shot, great. You know, sometimes they're kicking it out. Maybe you got Smart out there on the wing or a Jaylen Brown out there on the wing, but I really feel like it's just a lot of ISO ball and then hope that the basket goes in. It's kind of frustrating. You know, Kemba Walker at times is showing flashes. You know, he's doing the step backs and he's doing, you know, runners to the basket, but he's really got to be more effective. He's got to be able to drive and hit those baskets. And I'll tell you what, with Bam underneath, I don't know how he's going to be able to get those shots off because, I mean, we saw it last night at the end of the game. Even Tatum at 6'8" drives the lane and gets blocked right at the rim. So I don't know what Kemba Walker is supposed to do other than, you know, penetrate, get the double team, and then kick it out to the open guy, I guess, is the way to go.
Yeah, and I think, and I'll connect him on right after this. But for me, you know, my thing too is not even as much as the Heat, but like looking forward, you're going up against LA, which is a really dynamic team oriented. They have leaders on the team, and I mean, you see a team like Denver come back down 3 games, and you know they come back and take it in Game 7, and they do so by a pretty good gap in margin. I mean, these are teams that are going to be sound, and they're going to tear apart a team that's not cohesive and that isn't having that leader on the floor. And to me, the way Tatum played last night and the way I've seen him play so far, I don't know that he's the guy to kind of get everyone through the finals. So I think people underestimate the power and the feel behind being in the finals, fans or no fans. And I think that a team like this is going to make a lot of mental mistakes if they don't figure it out and get on board. And with that, we'll bring in Tim.
All right.
I'm ready for a 2-ton take. A 10-ton take, I'll even say.
10-ton take.
So a couple things, piggyback. You know, I remember we sat in here a couple months ago, I mentioned how Jason Tatum was not the face of the Celtics. And believe me, listen, I am probably the biggest Jason Tatum supporter that you'll probably run into. I thought it was a great pick for us. He's been great for us, but he's not there. Again, he's 22 years old. The kid, he's still got a lot of maturing to do. And, this is what I meant by, previous statements that I've made as far as he's not the leader of the team. I'm sorry, but, when you have a tied game, and granted, yes, he made the free throw, and obviously we wouldn't be in that position without him. But when you have a tied game, you're in a playoff game, first game of the series, you're trying to set the tone. And, to me, by him taking that three-pointer, he's looking for, we'll call it a splash play, right? He wants, a pretty much a highlight play. And I think a lot of his issues are that he's kind of overthinking the game a little bit. He's not letting it come to him naturally. And, like Nick was saying, you watch a lot of his plays when he drives and, he's trying to, do the Kobe step back and, do the Kobe fadeaway. He's trying to get things off of one leg, all these real pretty plays. And I think a lot of it has to do is because he knows that next year is a contract year for him. And either way, he's going to secure his bag. And that's always been a big struggle with the Celtics. They have to find these team guys. So I think, between him thinking about that, thinking that he's the guy to go to. This is going to be the series right here that is going to show what Gordon Hayward is to this team. People forget about that. We do have one of our best players on the sidelines right now. And I don't know if he comes back for this series. I really doubt it. But hopefully he can because, I think he is a guy that would be big enough to kind of, I wouldn't really say contain, but kind of, I guess, help contain Jimmy Butler. I do think that Butler's the best player in the whole series right now, and he's probably the third best player left in the whole playoffs. That's just how I've always viewed Jimmy Butler. He's a dog. He's the kind of guy that wants to go at your throat. He's very hungry, and he's got a lot of stuff that he wants to prove to people too. Watching Jimmy Butler last night, just the way he took over and made things happen and getting his team involved, that is what you want out of your players. I don't think that, it's an all-lost cause. I don't think that, the series is over. But I will tell you, if the Celtics go down 0-2, you might as well put the nail in the coffin because, this Miami team, they're playing with a lot of swag right now. They just knocked off Milwaukee. They just beat, a very hard series before then. So, they're moving, and they're in the right direction. So there's definitely got to be something. We got to change up the offense. Listen, when Marcus Smart is your second highest scoring player of the night, that's when your team struggled. And it's no knock on him, but he's a defensive guy. He's not an offensive guy. So we got to get Jaylen Brown shooting. Get his corner threes open up. We Drew, I know you mentioned Kemba driving to the lane and getting the double team and the kick out. Maybe it's not that. Maybe you try to space the floor. Whether it's going smaller lineups, whatever it is. Listen, if they're going to keep a guy underneath the hoop, someone's going to be open along the top of the key. So they got to just, start moving the ball, swinging it, stop looking for just their own shots, and I think they'll be okay. But it's, they've got to want it, and it can't be about me. I call it hero ball. You can't play that. But as far as that 3-pointer at the end of the game, I was sitting there in so much disbelief because if you would have driven to the hoop, maybe he's not thinking that because the way things ended with Kemba. In that Philly series when he drove and they didn't call it. But you got to stay aggressive, and there's really no reason why they couldn't. I'm sorry, not the Philly series, the Toronto series. But the Celtics definitely have the capability to be there. I am a little worried about the West. I do think right now the way that LeBron's just playing, and I'm not gonna say they're not beatable, but I think it's really a tough task to at this point get through this series and then go on and how do you beat a team like LA? So it's going to be interesting, but again, let's focus on the task at hand first, and let's get through the heat. But they can do it. They just need to play Celtic basketball, and last night was not Celtic basketball.
Tim, I got a few things I want to talk about that you brought up, and I think I'd like to just add to. First of all, flashy Tatum doesn't work for me. Okay,
correct.
We can't count on flashy Tatum. We need consistent Tatum.
Correct.
We need Tatum to be taking the ball to the basket. We need him to be taking the open shots. We can't be waiting for a 20-second time clock to count down to 4 or 5 seconds and then launching up a three-pointer. It just isn't going to be the way that they win, and I agree with you there. No hero ball. Gordon Hayward coming back, look, I don't know if he's going to come back, but they're talking about maybe Game 4 if he does at the earliest. Do we need him right now? Absolutely. Look at some of the guys that are playing minutes for us right now. Grant Williams, rookie, 10 minutes. Semi Ojeleye, 10 minutes. Even my boy Rob Williams playing 11 minutes and doing okay, getting some rebounds for you, a blocked shot, but only scoring 2 points. Brad Wanamaker played 25 minutes last night. And for that time, I got to tell you, I liked some Brad Wanamaker. The guy went 3 for 5 from the field, hit 5 of 5 free throws, scored you 11 points, had 5 steals in the game, and distributed 6 assists.
Yep.
I can't really complain about Brad Wanamaker. But do I want to give those minutes to Brad Wanamaker or Semi Ojeleye or Grant Williams? Or do I want Gordon freaking Hayward to be able to get in there and get those minutes? Damn it, I want Gordon Hayward in there. That's why we're paying him all that damn money. So let's get him back. So that's my take on Gordon. Butler leading by example. That's all I can say about that. The guy's a top 10 player. I think before you stepped into the studio, I brought it up. I said I was wrong. And the reason why I said I was wrong is he goes out there and he leads by example with his team. And that's what you want from a top guy.
Right.
You want the guy to take the right shot at the right time when it's available to him. And if it's not available, you see it. He's dishing the ball to his teammates. And that's the way that it's got to be done. Tatum could learn from that. Maybe he'll learn in this series from that. Maybe he'll go back and look at the game tape and say, you know what, I need to be more like Jimmy. Dude, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Drive the ball to the basket at the end of that game before the overtime started. You know what I mean? Fourth quarter, end of fourth, you've got almost a full shot clock. Get the ball to the basket. Even if you get fouled, you're getting to the line, you're hitting free throws. So it's got to happen. Kemba Walker, look, I don't know if you're talking about doing more spacing with the high pick and roll or just getting more people out behind the arc. I really feel like he does very, very well when he runs the pick and roll with a big. But when he's driving to the basket, if he's got Bam underneath there, he's gonna dish that ball, man. He's gonna dish it because he's either that or he's gonna start his gather and throw up a floater
right.
from 12 feet away.
Right.
He can't be taking 5-footers or trying to do runners. He's not going to get past Bam. He's too good. He's too athletic. He's too young. So I can't stand that. And then the last thing he talked about was the West and what the competition looks like out there. Look, LeBron, they've been sitting now for a little while. They're waiting for Denver to come in there and get that series started. Denver pulled the Red Sox miracle, down 3-1 comeback, and I love everything that Denver's about. I love Murray. I love Nikola Jokic. I mean, they've got a great team out there. Even like Michael Porter Jr., a great young player. I don't know if they're going to be able to go out there and give Anthony Davis and LeBron a run for their money, but I'm going to enjoy that series. And then, whoever wins here in the East, whether it be Miami or the Celtics, I really feel like they're going in at a disadvantage, don't you?
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I will tell you this. As far as, Nikolai and, the Nuggets, that series is really going to come down to how well he plays. Because if he's on and he's forcing AD to come out of the paint, that definitely sets the Lakers at a disadvantage. But if he's off, man, and if he's not going to be, a worry out, out of the key, then that really is going to spell trouble for them quick. And I think it'd be a really fast series. Because I mean, listen, yes, we know that Denver's hot right now, but how exhausted are these guys? You know what I mean? They've went through, a hell of a series, and it's not easy. People think just because it's basketball, there's no contact. Like, listen, the mental. Aspect of being down 3-1 in a playoff, and, then you're dealing with, not seeing your family, and, you're going through the whole COVID thing and things like that. Like, they're probably, pretty much just mentally done. But again, I'm not going to sit there and count them out because I'm not going to be like, Shaq or Charles Barkley or, Stephen A. Smith. And I don't want Jamal Murray out there listening to this and going off on me on his next post-game, press conference telling us, that, how we doubted him and things like that. But I just think that from a matchup standpoint, who do you have on that team that's going to be able to keep LeBron in check?
Yep.
That's their biggest issue. I think you can keep AD, but you definitely cannot keep LeBron. And again, if, Kuzma comes into himself and, it could get ugly really quick. So again, I don't want to wish any injuries on anyone, but if somehow LeBron gets hurt, I think that's really their only chance that they come out of the series. I'd be very surprised if Denver was able to pull this one off.
Yeah, man, I totally hear you. Hey, listen, I know we're up against the break.
A
We
big
got
one.
Ryan trying to call in. Nick, why don't we take a quick break, and then we'll come back on the other side.
Sounds good. And like you heard here from Drew, we got Ryan on the line too, so stick around. It might be a little bit of a longer break, but we'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes, so stay tuned. It's MVP Sports Talk Radio. We'll be back.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention
Welcome back. Got 2 breaks out of the way, so we should be smooth sailing for a little bit here. MVP Sports Talk Radio with Nick and Tim in studio, and now we have Drew on the phone, and we just lost Ryan, so he'll call back in, I'm sure, shortly, and we'll have him. But we're back in it. And one thing I was thinking of touching on, too, was the fact that I know you had said Tatum is on his contract, or coming up on the contract year, and he's trying to get paid. To me, I think a team player that we can rely on is worth more money than a guy that can hit a bunch of points. So I think that he should get a little humble and realize that, he needs to contribute, but also be a smart mental head out there, and he'll get the money he deserves. And with that, we bring in Ryan as well. Ryan, how we doing, buddy?
Who's Ryan? This is Phyllis.
Oh, it's Phyllis.
Oh.
Hey, how we doing?
Phyllis. She's called the show before.
Is Ryan
She's
that
a little
really,
rascal.
really hot and sexy like guy from the South?
That's right. That's
Nope.
right.
Nope, that's
I
Ryan.
knew it. He's not in studio today.
Nope. No, he's going down to play bingo in the river.
We miss his very sexy face.
Well, gosh darn. Nah, I'm just kidding. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
Wait,
Love me
who is
some
this?
Phyllis.
Who is this?
Love me some Phyllis.
Was Ryan just talking in third person?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Maybe.
Oh boy. It's all right, buddy. We'll get you the help you need.
That's
Don't
where
you
he's
worry.
going. He's on his way.
Corona's got everyone going crazy. What are you going down to rehab down there or what?
Yeah, that's the plan.
The
Yeah.
asylum.
So what's going on, man? What's up?
So, I heard you guys were touching on the Celtics a little bit, kind of going back and forth, venting some frustrations and stuff like that. And you pretty much, both Tim, Nick, Drew, you guys kind of took the words right out of my mouth. But I'm going to add one little side point, and I think you guys will
I'm
agree.
interested in this.
There's another young player
Yes.
that played last night
Yes.
that showed up and dropped 40 on the Clippers.
Yes.
Now, the Clippers, you can agree, are a much better team than Miami, a much better team, like talent-wise.
Yeah. So hold on.
And-
So Ryan, not to cut you off, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. So are you saying team-wise as far as individual talent, or team-wise as far as together talent?
In terms of individual talent.
Okay. Yep.
Individual talent.
Yep.
Obviously, so Clippers, one of the most talented teams in the league, with arguably the best player in the league right now. Arguably. Better team. Who did the Nuggets beating around before? Was that Utah?
Yes.
It be Utah?
Yes.
Right. Utah and Miami you can kind of put on par in terms of individual talent.
I'll give you that.
But Jamal Murray shows up in Game 7 and scores 40 points and absolutely locks it down. That's a young player that Jason Tatum needs to aspire to be.
Yeah.
Can
I
we
mean.
agree?
I'll take it even,
Yeah. No, you're not gonna hear any
I'll take it
arguments here. Yeah.
I'll take it even one step further. I think Jaylen Brown needs to aspire to be that guy, because they were both picked in the same draft, and I was screaming for them to take Murray instead of Brown. But they went with Brown for the raw athleticism. And look, so far he's been a good player. He's been a solid piece. I mean, him and Tatum make a great 1-2 punch. But can you imagine the team that they would have if they had Jamal Murray and Tatum? Oh, my God. I can't even think about it.
Yeah. I mean,
When did Jamal Murray get drafted?
it was the same draft as like Jaylen Brown. So 4 years ago.
Jaylen Brown.
What picks?
Oh.
I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Talk about
But
something
yeah,
else.
my
before I go.
point was Jamal Murray being the same age as Jaylen Brown, similar age as Tatum, a little bit older, but that's a young guy that has stepped up in those big moments and has carried his team and came back from a 3-1 deficit against arguably the most talented team in the league.
Right. I mean,
You know what I'm
there's a
saying?
couple
So-
issues there with Brown. I mean, he gets, I know we talked about it in our private chat, but, he obviously gets the ball and he kind of shuts down and he looks only for his shot. The Celtics just need, to have both these guys kind of understand that they need to be a facilitator as well. And, I mean, yes, run the offense through them, but don't have the main offense be them, right? And, we watched a lot of it, especially when Kyrie went down, a couple of years ago. And it just, I don't know what's changed, right? Because, I mean, when Kyrie originally went down, maybe it's because, Horford's not in the sets anymore or anything like that, but I felt like the ball moved a lot better than it has been, especially as of late, even in those series, especially when you go back and you watch against the Cavaliers and, the 7-game series and things like that. I felt like the ball popped a little bit better, and now it's just like, these guys kind of get the ball and they almost just kind of stall out. Right, and then you're watching these plays where they're getting close to 4 or 5 seconds on the shot clock, and then you got Tatum ultimately taking it to the hole and kind of throwing up a prayer, and again, a lot of these shots that Tatum has made, you almost want to be okay. If you take that shot 10 times, how many times you're actually going to make that, right? So, it's not quality shots that the Celtics are getting, and that's the issue. And, everyone's all about it because, Tatum made the shot. Again, but just because you make it doesn't mean it's a quality shot, right? So the Celtics need to find ways to open up the offense, spread the floor, find quality shots. And listen, if you're going to lose, I want to lose getting quality shots. I don't want to lose because we chucked up a three-pointer at, the last bell or, anything like that. So, again, it's quality over quantity. The guys just need to space better, and really we don't have the issue where we don't have the talent to do that. The problem is that we don't have, I think, the heart at times to, keep moving. And, a lot of guys just kind of get into their sets and they just set their feet and they really don't move from that area. But, Miami, they're great because they can shoot the three ball, but at the same time, they have a lot of guys that can slash and cut through the paint and things like that. And, it takes players out of defensive position. And when you have an anchor like Bam and, you have the size that they do have, it makes the game a lot easier. And I felt like once Miami picked up the pace of their game, it flipped everything on the Celtics last night because they jumped out. Now, again, let's not forget, okay? At the end of the day, I don't think Miami beat the Boston Celtics last night. I think the Boston Celtics beat the Boston Celtics. They had multiple double-digit point leads. They had, they came out on fire. Marcus Smart goes 2 for 3.
Yeah. How many double-digit leads did we blow last night?
I mean, I was leaving and heading out. I met Nick for some delicious dessert. So I didn't get to see everything. But I know, right from the gate, they were up 12 points and they lost that. And then I got to, we went to BJ's and again, they were up by 12 points. So I know there was at least 2 to 4 double-digit point leads that they blew last night. And, if they would have just slowed the game down, worked the offense, stay aggressive, go to the hole, when you're trying to play fast and you're trying to do all this cute stuff, you're playing into Miami's hands, right? And it's kind of like how I said, months ago about the Patriots having to, take the pace of their game. And it's the same thing that we use in our basketball league, right? We control the pace of the game. If we control the pace of the game and we play to our pace, no one's going to beat us. The problem is last night the Celtics stopped playing at their pace of the game and they started going to Miami's favor because they wanted to play the run and they wanted to play the slash game, right? So get Miami back on their heels, get them into foul trouble, stay aggressive. Even if you go down by 10 points, whatever, don't panic. Stay with the game plan because once these guys get back on their heels, the game's going to become easier for you. And last night, Boston just overcomplicated the game for them and their shooters. That's the bottom line.
Ryan, I got a couple of things for you. First of all, Jaylen Brown was drafted in 2016, 3rd overall. Jamal Murray went the 7th pick to Denver. And in their career to date, Jamal Murray has scored nearly 1,000 points more than Jaylen Brown. So take that for what it's worth, but there you go. And I was screaming for them to take Jamal Murray out of Kentucky. But, hey, Danny Ainge obviously knows better than me, right? So we got that going on. You guys were talking about the Celtics just don't have heart. Well, whose fault is that? I think it's Brad Stevens' fault. He's so
100%.
passive as a coach. He's so passive as a coach. It's so frustrating. He's like, all right, everything's good. Like, they showed him talking to his team in the huddle. I forget if it was the second quarter or third quarter. They had gone on a little. Miami had gone on a little run, and they were behind, and they had to come back. And he was just like, yeah, all right, well, let's just do the next right thing, and we'll get back into the game. Like, no, show some fire there. Get these guys feeling aggressive, and get them driving the ball and really playing hardcore. You know what I mean? Like, don't be like, okay, everything's good, I guess. I mean, if you want to just maybe make a good shot on the next play, and like, you need to have some fire. I'm sorry, but that's crazy. And then back to the Tatum point. sometimes I feel like he's playing like he's on a pickup league court. You know,
he's down at the YMCA.
He's trying to be like, hey, look at me. And you said it before, Tim. You know, you're trying to make the flashy play. Yeah, totally. You know, he's like, hey, I'm going to make this great highlight reel play, and now everybody's going to look at me. And you know, I don't know if you're pointing before about, you know, contracts is a thing, and you know, he's got to put a highlight reel tape together to sit down at the negotiation table, but I think it goes a lot further at the negotiation table if you can walk in there with a championship ring on your finger, as opposed to a whole highlight reel of dunks and shots and you know and things. You know, you can do all those flashy things, but when it comes down to it, if your team doesn't win, what good is it?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I think a good point of that would be even Giannis. I mean, you got a guy that can score, you know, whenever he wants, wherever he wants, but at the end of the day, they got eliminated by the Heat pretty quick. I mean, at the end of, and granted, you know, he had an injury and whatnot, but it's, you know, players are players. You can find them anywhere in the league. You can go out and pay them any amount of money you want to pay them. But at the end of the day, you need a leader. And I think, you know, the reason that the Celtics were successful in the past were guys like Ray Allen, guys like Paul Pierce, or even going back to like Larry Bird, like guys that are going to be coming out, leading the team, and, you know, you don't have to score a ton of points. At the end of the day, you're going to get everyone else to score a ton of points and set up the movement for it to happen. And then that's worth more money to me than a guy that can hit a bunch of buckets and lose games.
So I'm going to piggyback
Nick,
on a
I
couple
love
points.
that. Well, guys, I love that you brought up Giannis and the Bucks, Nick, because I really feel like that says a lot about the kind of team that Miami is, right? They're the kind of team that can go out there and punch the MVP in the face and beat him. So what does that say about what the Celtics have to do to overcome this team, right? So I love that you brought that up, because you can be an MVP and you can be a highlight reel guy, and Miami will still shut you down and beat you. So how do they go out there and beat Miami is the question of the day.
Right. So hold on. So Ryan, I think you're taking off, right? I know you were trying to squeeze out of here.
I'm stuck in a little drive, and we're kind of driving in silence, and Giovanna's getting kind of bored driving in silence and wants to put some music on. So
well, she should be over there whipping up some empanadas. What is she doing?
You tell her.
Whipping up some empanadas.
Come on, I'm waiting on them buffalo chicken ones. Let's go.
You tell her in about 5 minutes there will be some Booty Man playing on this station.
That's
you tell her that.
That's right. All right, Ryan Wade, thanks for rocking with us. We'll see you when you get back.
Yeah. Before I get off, though, quick. I love what I saw from the Patriots. Obviously, we're not going to see the whole offense playing against Miami. Definitely dumbed it down, simplified the offense. Cam Newton looked great in that first game. I don't think you could ask for anything more out of that game, honestly.
Right.
Defense still looks solid. Seattle's going to be a real tough test, and I'm really looking forward to see how we stand up against a formidable NFC team. Again, the Celtics really need this game too. I feel like we need to come out, establish the flow, play at our pace. The Celtics need to play their game. Like Tim said, the Celtics beat themselves last night. We come out, we play our game, maybe win by double digits, you know, establish some superiority, establish dominance in this series, which I think the Celtics can easily do. So, guys, have a great show.
You too,
Love
buddy.
You guys, and I'll see you
Be
next
safe.
week.
All right.
Safe travels, be safe, and enjoy.
Hey, I love that Ryan brought up Cam Newton and the Patriots, and I know we're up against a break, so why don't we take that break, Nick, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about Cam on the other side.
You know it. Sounds good to me. I was going to say the same. And with that, we'll be back. MVP Sports Talk Radio coming live at you in 2 minutes.
This is a message from the Centers for
That one goes on out to Ryan and Giovanna on their trip and their travel. If you're listening, that's the booty man. With that, we're back. MVP Sports. Drew on the line, Tim across from me, myself in the studio. And we're diving into Cam Newton. Yes, I said it. Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. The new leader of the New England Patriots.
All right. I want to just fire a couple things out here real quick. Give you a nice little 2-ton hot take. Man, were a lot of people wrong about Cam Newton. Boy, oh boy. I love it. I love it. I need more of it. I want all of it. No, I mean, listen, in all seriousness, it's game one, right? It's only one game. But, man, it felt awesome to see a different style of offense out of the New England Patriots. It's no knock on Tom Brady and the 0-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What it is a knock on is that it took 20 years to change the offense. And for the first time in 20 years, Miami didn't know what was coming at them. Had no idea.
Yep.
I'm sure they had a little bit of an idea, but you get what I'm saying.
I think, not to cut you right off, but I think it's good to you have a guy that's served under Belichick, arguably, right. The face behind the Super Bowl win and the guy that put up the defense, and there was a lot of back and forth on it. But to see him come out and just really not look good defensively at all is a bold statement, and I think that shows a lot for how this offense is going to work. And honestly, I think it reflects a lot on Josh McDaniels in a good way. And I think this is the type of offense that he's been wanting to put out for the last 7 years. And I think probably some reason why you've seen him step away and now come back is I think they were trying to go towards this offense. You've seen him leave. You saw him come back. When he came back, you've seen the screen get more implemented. You've seen guys like White become more relevant in the offense and that caliber of a player. And then you've seen it kind of fade back out, and you see the discourse between Belichick, McDaniels, and Brady. So I think this is what the last 7 years they've been trying to do, and I really think that we'll be impressed continuously. It's kind of a bold statement, but I think this is the way New England wants to go. And keep in mind, you had a touchdown that didn't get scored because of that fumble. So I think, seeing 21 points might not look like a big game, but really that's a 28-point game.
Right.
So it's a big win against Miami, who, like you said, we struggle with, and it's always a close game. It's always back and forth, but, New England, to my mind, dominated the tempo and just the game as a whole compared to what they normally done on a game against Miami.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong, and Drew, I do want to get your thoughts, but, I'm not sitting here, and listen, I am not expecting them to have a great dominant performance this weekend. I don't know if they even get this win, but I would say this team is number one. Everyone is saying they're going to have a losing season. Stop it, because it's not going to happen. All right, they've got one win in the bag. They're going to beat the Jets twice. They'll probably split with Buffalo. They'll probably end up splitting the other game with Miami. Right? You'll look at maybe this game. I don't see them getting by Kansas City and Baltimore. I think they play right. So maybe go 1-1 with those games, maybe go 0-2. That's fine. But I think 10-6, 9-7 is a realistic expectation for this football team, and it's going to be enough to get them into the playoffs. I think, however, Buffalo does will depend on who actually gets the division. But I'm not going to sit here and say that New England's not going to get the division, right? Because if as time goes and players get more comfortable in the system and the offensive playbook opens up, because I do as well just agree with Ryan that I don't think they showed everything. They dumbed it down. Remember, Cam Newton is only a very short period of time into this offense. And he's still learning, guys like N'Keal, and, we didn't really see Jacoby Myers, and, we get the tight ends and things like that. So as these guys come more into their own and he understands what their skill set is, I think the offensive playbook will open up. Things will look a little bit different. I do want to say, though, how impressed I was with the defense, with everyone who's a young player stepping up. And there's, it's not the same defense, but it's not far off. So shout out to the defense and the defensive coaches getting things done on that side of the ball. But yeah, I was really excited, man. Like seeing him run the QB option and watching him with the delayed keepers and things like that. It was awesome to see, man. Like there was at least 4 or 5 plays that we saw, especially with Van Noy, where he was completely faked out. He had no idea where the ball was. So that's awesome to see. So again, I'm excited, and just like Ryan said, I'm very excited for this Sunday night's football game to see how they stack up against a team like Seattle. But that being said, I don't think Seattle's defense is as scary as it once was, or even close, really. But they've lost so many people on both sides of the ball. But obviously, Russell Wilson, he's a natural leader, and the Seahawks will always be a decent team as long as he's there, I feel.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about some of those things. First of all, I think a lot of people were definitely wrong about Cam Newton, and I like the way that you brought that up. I think even the Patriots were wrong about Cam Newton because it took them forever to bring him in here. I don't know what took him so long. This guy obviously has a lot left in the tank, and, what the heck took him so long? So not only were a lot of fans wrong about him, but I think the Pats were wrong about him for a while. And I echo what you were saying. It's definitely cool to see a different look offense after 20 years of the same cookie-cutter offense with Tom Brady. It's nice to see something different out there on the field. Now, the big question is, he was great in his debut, but can Cam keep it up versus Seattle in Game 2? We shall see.
Right. I don't know if you saw it, Drew. I know I did. I don't know if maybe Nick did as well. One of my favorite things about that win was it was a third-quarter touchdown where Cam got the ball in, and he handed the ball to David Andrews and told him, no, you spike it. You got to spike it. Knowing where, David Andrews' situation was last year and, Cam coming to the team only, 2-3 months ago, whatever, it was, to watch that brotherhood between those two come together so quick, that's huge between your center and your quarterback, right? And, it was just so awesome to watch him say that, because if Cam wanted to be about Cam, and we've seen it before, Cam is arguably one of the most, flashy players in the league, from, his hats to, his post and pregame suits, things like that, and I just feel like, he's definitely bought in coming here because it's no longer just the Cam Newton show. You know what I mean? He's getting his teammates involved. Belichick has praised him. Cam in his press conference, he hasn't made it just about him. He's made it about the team, right? So, it just goes to show, like, yes, people can buy into the Patriot way, and the guy does want to be here. And, again, why it took him 86 days or whatever it was to get on an active roster, we don't know. Was it because of COVID? Was it because no one really wanted him? Whatever it was, I think him taking the $1 million gamble on himself is going to pay off in the long run if he can continue to play with how he played. And even just do, the simple things. Because, listen, whether he's a starter on someone's roster, which I think he will be, I like what I've seen where I'd want him back next year. I think that we could put a good product around him. But even if he's not going to be a starter somewhere, he's going to make more than $1 million as a backup regardless. So either way, he's going to, cash in on his season here, I feel. But just to, again, get back to, my main point. Like, watching him come together with his teammates so fast and be able to have that bond and that connection was absolutely amazing.
Tim, I have to agree with you, man. The Andrews spike, look, getting that team buy-in, if you're the new guy and you're coming in and you want to take over and be the leader, you have to get the buy-in from the rest of your team. And to give that to Andrews after having to sit out a year last year with his medical condition, I agree. A huge way to get that buy-in and get the team on your side. As a leader, I always give praise to my team and take responsibility when things go wrong. And in this case, it felt like Cam was giving that praise to Andrews and his offensive line by saying, hey, you know what, man, it's your ball to spike.
Right.
You do it.
Right.
So I love that, man. I loved it. Totally in agreement. Now, look, here's a point where I feel like I'm not in agreement with you at all. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to have to go down the list on this. So you said you think the Pats are going to win 10 games. Let's take a look at the schedule and tell me where you think those 10 wins come from.
Let me pull it up.
Obviously, they've got one in the bag, right? Miami.
Yep.
Week 2, Seattle. Do we agree they probably aren't going to win in Seattle?
I say right now I'm 50-50.
I think they win.
In all seriousness,
I
I'm
think
50-50.
they win easily, personally.
All right. So Russell Wilson and his 4 touchdowns last week and the way that DK Metcalf was just flying past the defensive back, that doesn't scare you at all.
I think you have the best, one of the best corners in the league. I think the best corner in the league. I don't even think Jalen Ramsey compares to Stephon Gilmore. I think Ramsey getting blown out by Gallup and having to do a little fake fallback just to get the flag because he got blown out by a guy who isn't even making the big bucks yet. Yeah, I don't think that he deserves a contract.
I think honestly one of the biggest advantages that the Patriots have going into this week is the coaching staff.
Well, I think the coaching
That's what
staff,
I put it down to.
I think Seattle relies on the same offense every season, much like New England has done. And no one has the tape on this New England offense yet, and that's going to be the key to the season. If you're talking next year, yeah, maybe Seattle beats New England. But I think this year is the year where they have a good chance to make a statement overall. Do I think it's a Super Bowl? I don't know. But do I think they go pretty far based on the new offense? Yeah, because much like you saw with the Ravens last year, there's no tape on it. And that was the difference maker for the Ravens where, no one had tape, no one knew how to beat them, and they took advantage.
All right, so
let me reel you back.
Yeah, so let's go through game by game. So
let me reel you back in here for a second. So Seattle, I say it's a loss. Tim?
I'm going to put it down as a tight win.
So win, and obviously Nick thinks it's a win.
Yep.
So let me put that down as a win. So that's 2 wins.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the Raiders.
Raiders are a win.
Raiders are a win.
Raiders are a win.
Yeah, I think they're a win.
All right, I don't think it's a win, but okay. Kansas City?
That's a loss.
All right, so there's their first loss. So they're 3-0. They go into Kansas City. Now they're 3-1.
I think they win in Kansas City too.
No.
Yeah, I do.
I can't say that.
I don't think they go into
Denver's a win.
win.
Denver's coming here. That's a win.
I'm in agreement with that. I think Denver's a win. San Francisco.
After their performance last week, I'd like to say a win, but I feel like they could be the team to give a little hiccup on my undefeated streak that we have going. But I will say it's a overtime win.
I'm going to go with loss.
Yeah, loss on that one, too, so we're not going to give them that one.
Yep.
Buffalo, I think we all agree they'll probably split with Buffalo.
In Buffalo,
right?
yeah. In Buffalo, they'll lose. They'll win at home.
Yeah, so Buffalo will give them we'll give them 1 win for Buffalo because they're probably gonna win against them one time.
Yep.
All right, New York Jets.
Sweep them.
Jets.
That's 2 dubs. Yep. Jets just don't really have much talent, man, outside of Le'Veon Bell.
All right.
I mean, Crowder looks good, but overall,
Le'Veon Bell's out. Le'Veon Bell's going to be out for a little while, boys. So it's Frank Gore. It's Frank Gore or bust for the Jets right now. Of course, by the time November 9th rolls around, who knows? Le'Veon might be back.
Right.
But
I think it's all 4 weeks.
Yeah, he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. All right, Baltimore.
I think a loss.
I think a loss.
I think it'll be a good fight.
Like I said, I feel like the Patriots will end up getting either the Kansas City game or the Ravens game. I don't see them losing both. They could, but for this one, I'll give them both a loss. So what have we got at? 10-4, right?
Yeah. Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 wins down so far for them. Houston's
a win. They looked like complete garbage against Kansas City on opening night, and I feel like they're going to have a really tough year.
Yeah, before I saw them play the season opener, I probably would have said Houston was a loss.
Yeah.
After the season opener, I'd give them a win.
I just can't see that offense.
Arizona Cardinals at home at Foxborough.
Joe, I got to cut you off real quick. We just had a little knock on the window over here, so I don't know if he's getting back in his car, if he is listening, but Braylon want to say what's up to you.
What's up?
All right, so Houston, we got a loss, and then you said the Cardinals. I want to say loss, but listen, I like what this Arizona team's doing. I think that they've got a really bright future with Murray and the receivers out there, and especially with Drake. And I would love to see Drake go off all year and just dominate the league because obviously that would be a good thing for me. We know why. But yeah, I think Arizona could be a tough game, but I think right now if they play today, I think I'd take New England.
All right, so we're going to give them Arizona.
Yep.
I'm sure that Nick's going to say yes to Zona, and I would probably be the only one that says Arizona's a loss there.
Yep.
Chargers don't look like they can.
It's in LA, right?
It's in LA.
I'm going to go with a loss.
Yeah, I feel like they lose to the Chargers,
yeah.
And I feel like they may lose the following week to the Rams.
No, I'm going to give the Rams a win. That's us.
So you think it's a win?
Yes.
It's tough. I mean, I like to think. I think they beat the Chargers.
One of those two. It's going to be one of those two because they're going to be in LA for the 2 weeks.
I think they would likely lose to McVay and the Rams, but I think they take the Chargers. The Chargers they take advantage defensively over a slower pocket quarterback, and I think Newton's going to be able to contain that.
I think they'll win one of those 2 LA games. It'll either be the Chargers or the Rams. That's split. Miami, we've already given them 1 win against Miami. I think they're going to split against Miami.
Miami.
I think they take both.
Take them a loss. Take them a win there. Buffalo, we're giving them 1-1 versus Buffalo, so we can't give them a win there. And then the last game of the year, the New York Jets, we've already given them that win.
Yep.
So let me add them up.
So it should be a 10-6.
We got Miami, Seattle, Raiders, Denver, Buffalo, Jets, Houston, Arizona, Rams, 10 wins, 6 losses. Boom.
You heard it here first.
Did they win the division and make the playoffs, or did they finish on the cusp just outside of the playoffs?
So like I said, I think if Buffalo is a really good team, they could win the division. However, I still feel New England's going to get in no matter what as a wild card. I don't think that there's going to be 5 other teams better than New England.
I got to agree with Jess on the live stream saying both wins over Miami. I don't see...
Listen, we never see us going into Miami and getting beat by Miami, right?
No, I know.
We never see it.
No, but
it's one of the toughest games for New England.
The way they looked last week, I like the chances, and I think, Fitzpatrick, I just don't think that
Fitzpatrick won't be the quarterback for that game. Tua will be the quarterback.
You think Tua will be the guy?
Yes.
I guess we'll see.
Yep.
I mean, maybe, but then again, I don't know if
Fitzpatrick will be on a very short lease. This team starts off 0-3, 0-4. Forget it. Tua's going in because at that point,
even see Tua being New
England at that point, they're going to say, you know what, we got nothing to lose. Let's put this kid in the fire. Let's get him going.
I mean, Arizona for me, I didn't comment on it, but Arizona, that's a throw-up game. I mean, Arizona looks good, but I don't know how they continuously move.
And we don't know the situation with the Chargers either.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor could be out at that point, and Justin Herbert could be in.
I mean, I think that Herbert's a better option.
I think he's a better option too, but I think just as far as where they are now and needing to get offense going, I think that's why he's there. But I tell you, man, watching Hard Knocks with that Herbert, is it Herbert or Hubert?
Herbert.
Okay, watching him, man, that guy is a dime dropper. Watching him hit that target accuracy test and all that was like insane.
Jess, I gotta disagree. She says a little less about New England being capable, more about how bad Miami is. I mean, New England's a capable team. I think that not a lot of guys, or I shouldn't say guys, but not a lot of coaches in general are going to have tape on New England this year. And like I said, 10 minutes ago, this is their time to thrive. No one's going to be really ready. Now, not to say that, Brian Flores watching, 10 more weeks, 12 more weeks in New England football doesn't have a good understanding of what he needs to do, but I don't think you saw enough of New England's real offense to be really knowing what to expect down the road. I think it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks for every team across the board to really show how they're going to be this year because you lost 4 weeks of preseason. So it's going to, I think week 5 and 6 are going to be big weeks in the NFL across the board where I think you might have a lot of surprise wins and a lot of upsets where teams really start to jive and get going.
So 10-6, that's where it's at. Did they win the division, or is it going to be somebody else?
I think 11-5, and I think they take the division, but it's close.
11-5, huh? So you're going to give them that Kansas City victory?
Yeah, I give them the KC victory. I don't give them the Baltimore. I honestly, before we went through the schedule, I thought 11-5, 12-4 would be the year, and that's not like fan base. Definitely the toughest schedule they've seen, but I just think that they're going to really piggyback off having so many unexpected defenses coming at them. Like, they're not going to know what's hitting them, and so I think they're going to thrive on that.
Drew, let me ask you a question. Outside of, and I don't want to bring it up, but I know I'm going to have to, so I'm going to have to get some wood ready or something. Outside of Cam getting hurt, do you think that we see Stidham at all this year?
Performance-wise, I don't think that Cam is going to get to the point where he's bad enough.
Okay.
That we'll need to see Stidham. I just don't think that'll happen. I think that if he gets hurt, obviously, we're going to see Stidham in there. But
right.
I don't feel like performance-wise that Cam is going to falter to the point where we have to see what Jared Stidham can do.
Right.
It just isn't going to happen.
Right.
And I guess we can get an opinion here before I take the top of the hour break. Maybe we'll end up rolling both breaks in, which is always a bonus anyway. But Jeff said back to me, give me a break, not happening. So I just want to think, like, what did we see at a KC that really looked remarkable, like a Super Bowl defending team? Typically, the defending champs look pretty hot week 1. To me, I didn't really see that big of a game out of KC. I don't think Mahomes performed that great. I think the Texans kind of gave him that win. if you're asking me.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you more about what I think about that win after the top of the hour break.
All right, yeah, let's get a hot take.
That'll give us some time to think about it and then get some feedback from our girl Jess.
Got you. And with that, we'll be back top of the hour. So Jess, stick around. Hot takes coming your way. Everyone else, do the same. We'll be back. MVP Sports coming back at you.
You're listening to Double.
Oh, yeah, coming back pretty quick. Little trim on the top of the hour break, so we'll delay the other one a little bit to get a hot take. But Drew, let's hear it. What do you got for us?
So, listen, here's what I think happened in the opener with Kansas City. I think that they really decided that they were going to take their game plan and put it in the hands of Edwards-Helaire. I really do think that was the way to go. They said, we're going to take this kid, we're going to give him the ball, and we're going to see what he can do with it. And, oh, by the way, the kid ran all over the Texans. And you said, Pat Mahomes didn't do a lot. I don't think he had to do a lot. I don't think he had to go out there and sling the ball for 350 or 400 yards and try to get 3 or 4 touchdowns. I feel like he was able to go out there and make the plays that he needed to make, get first downs when he needed to, and aside from that, just hand it to Edwards-Helaire and just let him do his thing. That kid ran all over the place. Their offensive line looked solid, and Houston really did not have an answer for him. And then on offense, Houston just looked terrible. I mean, you guys picked on them for signing Chris Jones, and Chris Jones was in that backfield all day long, or all night long. So that's my take. I know it's tough to give credit to Houston because we're not Houston fans, but credit where credit's due. They look great.
I mean, I don't give Jones credit. I think the Houston offensive line looked terrible. I think Watson got beat up for it, and I think their game suffered because of it. To say that the Texans played great, that the Chiefs played great to me is kind of crazy because, yeah, they played a guy that they put a lot of trust in, probably had a good training camp, and they ran with him. He performed well, and they kept running with him. That's how football works. New England did the same thing. I told Tim, that, what is it? I can't remember his name now, but I told him anyways, he's coming for Sony's job. What does he do?
J.J. Taylor? Yeah, I don't think he's really coming for Sony's job.
J.J. Taylor.
I love
you see nonstop action.
Yeah, but, he had 4 carries for 28 yards. I just think he's explosive. He's, not to cut you off,
Drew.
The way
he ran was strong. Yeah. Really, really strong.
You know what he reminded me of? Dion Lewis.
I think he looked more like a stronger forward runner than Dion Lewis.
As far as his, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Lewis is more of a dancer, and this guy, I feel like he can really put his shoulder down and get the ball downfield. Look, you don't want to give credit to Houston, to Kansas City, that's fine. But Edwards-Helaire, 25 carries, 138 yards, a touchdown. It's pretty solid.
No, he looked good. I'm not I'm not gonna go against it and say that he didn't look good.
I mean, Mahomes 123.3 passer rating,
Yeah.
3 passing touchdowns. Only had to throw the ball for 211 yards, but 3 TDs, pretty solid. You know,
Yeah, I
Sammy
mean-
Watkins moved it, spread it around. Hill, Watkins, Kelsey, each with a touchdown.
No, I mean I don't dog the game itself. I just don't think that they looked great. I mean, I didn't see a lot out of Tyreek Hill. I didn't see a lot out of Mahomes that I thought was that impressive. It was just standard football, and that's not a knock on anybody. I'd expect the same kind of play out of any team. My perspective was I didn't think that they capitalized on a banged up looking Houston Texans. I don't think Texans defense looked great.
34 points. That's not capitalizing on that team.
Well, I mean, to an extent, I guess, yeah, but not that caliber
no
offense.
Deception. A 123 QB rating.
Not that caliber offense. No, I think if
a rookie for 25 carries, averaging 5.5 per carry. When was the last time a Patriots running back averaged 5.5 per carry?
when was the last time that the Patriots relied on a run offense?
That's what I'm saying. Like when was the last time that happened?
1987.
Maybe this year. Maybe this year will be the
Probably
first
this
time.
year, yeah, no, probably this year. But like, I just, 46 yards at a Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce, who's going to get a fat contract, 50 yards. I mean, it just didn't seem to me like it was a big thing. Yeah, cool,
Right, but-
cool.
but-
Guy
but-
ran for 138 yards. I'm not dogging it, but the Texans also didn't tackle the guy. They allowed him to get 5.5. And
I mean, listen, here's my view on this, right? And Nick can back me up. There was a couple of years ago where I was really high on the Texans. And I was like, man, the Texans are such a good team, right? And they have all this hype every single year, man. And they come out, and what do? They poop in their pants. And then all of a sudden, they're going to go on this run, right? Where everything's going to, oh, my God, watch out for the Texans. Here comes the Texans. They're such a great team. They're going to get to the playoffs, probably, whether it's by way of wild card or maybe winning that division, and they're going to be out in the first round. It's a repetitive process within the Houston Texans organization. And go ahead.
You chucked it up to Bill O'Brien. He's an awful coach.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly where I was going with this. They will not get to the next step until they get rid of Bill O'Brien, because Bill O'Brien is an offensive coordinator. He is not a defensive coach by any means, and that is how you win games in this league. We all know that. You have to play defense. Until they get rid of him, they will not get over the hump. And that is why they got hurt last year when they went into Kansas City and they were up by 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden the whole world fell apart because they couldn't understand that, hey, listen, Mahomes is going to start moving here. You got to play quarterback contain. You got to have your edge crash down. And what are they doing? They're sitting there and they're playing a 3-man rush, and they're not trying to blitz him. They're not trying to get him out of the pocket, do nothing. They're just sitting there letting him have a field day, and that's the problem.
And I got to go back to my point with Nick. I feel like Mahomes did what he had to do to win the game. 34 points, a pretty solid performance. And yeah, I know those other guys didn't put up a lot of yards, but look, they controlled the ball with Allaire. And they had almost 35 minutes of possession time.
Right.
Again, they dominated throughout the entire game.
Right.
Look, they were outscored by Houston in the fourth quarter by 3 points, 13-10. But at that point, I feel like the game was already in hand, and Houston wasn't going to come back and win it, even if they scored 2 more touchdowns. It would have been a tie game. So,
to an extent.
I'm not sitting here trying to pull on Pat Mahomes' jock or kiss Andy Reid's fanny. I'm just saying sometimes it's a little difficult for you guys to give credit where credit's due. And in this case, I feel like the champs came and played and put up a darn good game.
I mean, I'm not dogging the team. What I'm saying is I don't think the team I saw week 1 scares me to think that New England has to play them. I see a team where Deshaun Watson put up 250 yards, almost outperforms Mahomes. Aside from having an interception, he's got a couple drops in the end zone.
He didn't even come close to outperforming Mahomes. 250 yards, that's nothing. It's 1 40-yard pass difference. The guy had 1 touchdown, not 3, and he threw a pick versus no pick. That's not an outperformance.
So he's supposed to control all the drops in the end zone.
He had a QBR of 53.8.
The drops in the end zone is his fault. How though?
Well.
Stupid turnovers. You had a fumble. You had the Chiefs get lucky with a punt. They kicked out of bounds. Got lucky. The ball hit the back of his leg and flew out of bounds at the 2-yard line, which stalled the offense. The Texans came out up 7-0 into the second quarter. made the Chiefs look embarrassing the entire first quarter until the run game picked up in the second quarter. The run game saved the Chiefs' offense. I don't care what anybody says. The run game saved the offense, and that's on the Texans for not adapting. That's on Bill O'Brien for not adapting.
The run game was what they focused on. You're making my point.
That was not their game plan. They didn't come out on the run in the first quarter. They came out passing the ball, moving the ball, went down 7-0 into the second quarter, and then the run picked up, and they changed to the run. That's not their game plan, and they're not going to come in week 2 focus on running that ball every down. It's not a run offense.
Agree to disagree.
We'll see. I mean, I'm not saying the Chiefs are a bad team, so everyone that thinks I'm saying the Chiefs are a bad team, well, you don't know football. I can say that the Houston Texans beat themselves, much like the Boston Celtics beat themselves. Am I saying that, no team, the Heat didn't deserve the win? No, they won. Good for them. But I think, much like the Celtics, the Texans beat themselves.
I mean, me personally, watching that game should not have been as close as it was.
No, absolutely not.
But I do think that the reason why the score was what it was is because they ran heavy, they controlled the clock, and I think if it wasn't a run-heavy offense... Hold on a minute, sorry. John,
you run with the lead. Down 7-0, that's a lead? Okay, just making sure. I just want to get that right, John. Down 7-0 the lead, because they went to the run in the second quarter, down 7 points. They're not running with the lead. They're running for grace because the pass game wasn't working. So let's just get that clear. The pass game wasn't working, then the run game picked up, and that's why he ran for 130 and change yards. And then Williams is behind him with 50 yards. Almost 200 yards rushing. That's why it happened. So I just want to clear the air there because you're running with the lead down 7. Just want to make sure we got that right.
Hey, so
wow.
Let's get off the Kansas City train for a little bit because look, we're not here to talk about them. What I want to do is get back to the defense, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier that the defense for the past stepped up against Miami.
Yes.
Was it really them stepping up, or was it Miami just being really, really bad? I think Jessica made that point earlier that Miami was just a pretty awful offensive team. Now, look, the Pats were 8-0 last year.
Right.
I think they had one of the top 5 defenses in the league through 8 games. And, that was before they played a real opponent. So are we seeing some of that again to start this year? And, where do you think they'll be after they play Seattle this week?
Well, I mean, we all went back and forth on Seattle. I don't think it's a great win against Miami. I think it's probably one of the better wins we've had against Miami. Again, the fumble stunk. N'Keal Harry should be ashamed for letting that ball fumble into the end zone. So that kind of stinks because in my mind, realistically, that's a 28-11 game. But I think we knew going into it with Fitzpatrick throwing the ball that, Miami's offense is going to be low caliber. My thought was that the defense, that's a great defense. And you have, from what everyone said, that doubted Belichick, that Brian Flores was the man behind that Super Bowl win. He's the mastermind of the defense that year. So he's a great defensive coordinator. Now as a head coach, that's a defense-oriented team. They drafted defense heavy, and they come out and looked lost against Cam Newton and the Patriots.
Do you think the Pats defense, I think you said it, great defense, you think they're for real?
The Pats defense? I think the Pats defense did all right. I think they could have done a lot better. I think, that's not a real offensive challenge, a defense. So I think Seattle will be a good test for that defense. I'm a little worried about the defense against Seattle for sure, or a team like KC, or a team like Baltimore. Even the Jets with Crowder, I get a little worried sometimes with the defense. But I think they performed, better than I would have expected, we'll say. But I don't think that offense is a real challenge. I think there's a lot of work to do, and without some big leaders, it could be a challenge.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, I know we're coming up on a break. I actually have to run, guys, but before I do, I want to give you 2 things to think about. One, Stephen Gostkowski missed the first 3 field goals.
I am so glad you brought this up.
So I want you guys to talk about that. And then the last point, really outside the box here, Red Sox got a great start last night from Tanner Houck, and my buddy Matt thinks he looks like a right-handed Chris Sale. And I have to agree, the kid has electric stuff. So let's just take your break. If I get a chance, I'll try to call in and wrap up. If not, you guys have an awesome night. Thanks for the talk. Thanks for the vine. I'll see you guys on the other side.
See you later, man.
Sounds good. Take care, Drew. Talk next week.
Later.
And with that, we're going to take the break Phone lines are still open. 508-222-1320. Call on in. We're going to get this break out of the way. We'll be back. Stick around. MVP Sports Talk Radio. We're back.
50% pain.
Yeah, we're back. Rolled another break in there. I don't know if we caught it, but yeah, we did. That's what we do here. Coming back. One more thing I'll touch on. I missed Jess's comment up top here. I didn't say just New England would get going week 4 and 5 or every other team only. All NFL teams. About week 3, more likely week 4 and 5, these teams are really going to get jiving. They didn't have preseason, so these teams are really going to get rocking and rolling. If you don't think that, then that's your opinion, I guess. But, guys like Cam Newton who haven't gotten to work with players like Jacoby Myers, that's why they're not targeted. He's starting. He's on the field. He's not getting targeted. That's stuff that'll happen as practice moves on, as games move on, as you get comfortable with guys, as you go over mistakes made in the first few weeks. So I think you're going to see a lot of teams be a lot more competitive, going forward. Even teams like Arizona, they look great now. Maybe they look 10 times better week 4. And, teams like Houston get it together. Just in general, there's going to be a lot of movement and shifting in the NFL. And you're going to see a lot of teams kind of wake up. So that's where I was going with that comment. And, Tim, I'll let you take away the Gostkowski take because you were looking forward to it.
Oh, man. It's just not good. It's just not good. No, I mean, listen, the guy comes out, he misses, I forget exactly what it was. I know he had missed like 3 field goals.
3 field goals and an extra point.
Yeah. And man,
it 47, a 42.
And a 48, right? Or the 39?
It was 47 and 48 was the first. 42 and then a 30 and change.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly it's not just something that was in the New England air. Something's up there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think there's an injury at this point because if it was.
Yeah, the only thing we saw was a taking off the shoes after the extra point miss. So that was, at this point, 4 misses overall.
Right.
Both shoes came off, socks came off, everything came off.
Right.
So don't know. Didn't change the shoe. I looked.
I mean, so listen,
I don't know.
The guy just got signed too, right? So I mean, he hasn't really had a full camp. Yeah. I mean, we don't know.
He just had surgery, hip surgery.
So was he kicking? You know what I mean? Does he have some discomfort? Whatever it is, we don't know. But I mean, hopefully, listen, he's a great guy. I do hope that he figures it out. But I mean, it's kind of nice to be right, and I think Belichick was right on getting rid of him, not bringing him back. And I think that we were right talking about cut him.
I think week 1 had a very strong Belichick was right resemblance. And that's not coming from a New England perspective. I mean, you have Gostkowski.
Van Noy looked like he was lost.
Van Noy was my next to go.
Jamie Collins got ejected.
Then you have Butler didn't really look great in coverage in that game.
Right. We all know the story about Brady.
Didn't look great. Yep. So, and again, things might change, but for week 1, to me, Belichick looks like he comes out on top with all these guys he let go. And I know Van Noy, I expected was going to happen, but I was bummed that it happened. Then looking there, you kind of feel vindicated that maybe he's just a system guy, or a few of these guys are just system guys overall. So, and yeah, John, you're right. He hit the one that mattered, and that's all you can ask out of him. I think a team like Tennessee, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. They're always in close games. You think back to, most of their last season. I can't remember the record off the top of my head, but I want to say 9-7 maybe was their record last year. So 10 points is a big point difference.
Yeah.
They got lucky to be in that fight for as long as they were in that fight. Any other team capitalizes on a 10-point deficit caused by their own doing. Any other team capitalizes. So, I mean, yeah, he hit the one that mattered, but I don't think that Vrabel wanted him to be the one hitting man. I don't think Vrabel was comfortable in that situation, and I know he wasn't comfortable kicking the ball. So there was a lot of uneasiness there. He wasn't thrilled after he hit it. Everyone's jumping around on him, and he's just walking off, still pissed. So, that's a lot on a guy's self-confidence and how he's going to be moving forward, I think.
Yeah, 100% I agree.
But let's get further into NFL week, and I wanted to do a fantasy take while we had Drew, but that's all right as well. But we can do it now too. What's your thoughts coming out of the week 1 of fantasy football? Maybe guys you want to look to add. Just kind of the whole gist of everything, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's tough. There's a lot of people that we don't know. I mean, obviously, not having a preseason was huge. I think some players you thought that were going to be, really strong players might not be as strong. And I mean, again, there's always going to be those one or two guys that pop up and, make a name for themselves. I'm really interested to see what the situation turns out with Emmanuel Sanders with Mike Thomas going down. And, does he step in? Is there a rookie that comes up or, whoever it might be? So there's situations all throughout the league, right? Obviously there's a couple of key injuries, with Le'Veon Bell and things like that. And then also there's always that other little, side that does someone get COVID? Does someone get put on the IR? So it's definitely going to be different this year as far as for fantasy owners. Not really having that known type deal. And I mean, again, it's not like you always know, but the COVID just adds, a whole other different level to it. So I'm interested to see if J.J. Taylor, for the Patriots gets more time, if he gets more plays, how that affects, Sony and, how that affects White. Burkhead looks strong. I mean, I saw someone earlier saying that he's really the best overall round back in New England, which I do agree with. I do feel that he struggles sometimes with ball security and things like that. So I'm interested to see, what his role becomes and, just everywhere. It's awesome to see, and it's really something new that we haven't really seen before, as far as seeing as what can the rookies bring to the team. So you're just gonna kind of just keep chucking through and see what happens.
Yeah, and I'm just pulling up the scorecards here just because I wanted to see all the finals and everything like that. And, what team surprised me and stuff. And a lot of people talked on the Steelers. But to me, I think the Steelers beating the Giants wasn't really a surprise. I still don't think that, Daniel Jones looks that great, starting quarterback. I think Big Ben, people dog on him all the time. But, he's just a go-getter. And he's going to continue to perform. But was there any game in particular that surprised you this week one?
I want to go run back through it. Hold on one second.
See, for me, I mean, it's almost like I kind of expected a lot of these. Honestly, I was a bit surprised with the Cowboys' performance. I was kind of optimistic with McCarthy being head coach. I expected to see a lot of difference out of the team itself. To me, it felt like a typical Cowboys performance. I don't know.
Actually, you know what game really surprised me? In all seriousness, and we can talk about this too, the Philly and the Washington game.
Yeah,
I would have never thought. I would have never thought that Washington was going to come out and dominate.
I was surprised when I saw
the Eagles
that.
the way that they did. Looks like Zach Ertz is in a little bit of contract trouble over there. Wants out. Yep. And I'll tell you one thing.
And like I said to you,
if I'm Bill, I'm making that call because Zach Ertz is probably not if he's not in the top 3, he's in the top 5 tight ends easily. But Dallas Goedert is going to be a great step in for them over there. So I really think that if he really wants to make his money, it doesn't really make sense for Philly to pay him, right? Because they do have that next guy up.
Yeah, I think
they know
they need to target big defensive player. Right. And honestly, if we're being real, maybe not, but you could see Gilmore land there.
Yeah,
depending on how contract talks go with Gilmore. Right. I know there's talks of him getting more money in New England, but that's probably not going to be a long-term deal. So, they pay a lot of these guys now when we have this extra cash flow, but down the line, they're not going to sign them long-term for these big deals. And, a guy like Gilmore could probably land in Philly where he'll be a big splash, and that's a guy they need defensively. But, yeah, I mean, Washington, too, because there was no real, shake-ups in Washington that I thought would be, the difference maker. I mean, I definitely would have never put money on them winning. So, to me, was definitely crazy. And then, let's see, John said Indy was a shock. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I feel like it was kind of just one of those games where Gardner Minshew stepped up. He had a bang of a performance, right? Great performance. Probably one of the best quarterback performances of the week.
Right.
I mean, on the money, I think, I got to pull it up now. I want to say 27 for 30 he went. No, 19 for 20. I mean,
how many touchdowns did he have?
3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 173 yards.
What did he do as far as running?
For the team?
Yeah, no, for him.
He had 19 yards, yeah.
Okay.
5 carries, 19. Robinson ran 62 yards.
Huh.
I mean, overall, it's just a really spread game. I think defensively they did really well to give them good field position. You didn't have anybody break 100 yards, receiving or rushing. You didn't really have any standout players. Keelan Cole, 47. So for me, I guess it was just, kind of time and place, good defensive game. You don't really try to force the ball with Fournette as much, which I think was big for them, not to really rely on that run heavy and kind of let Gardner do what he needs to do. So right. I think, that worked really well.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Sorry, I was trying to read all these comments here. Yeah, Washington has a lot to play for with Ron Rivera having cancer. Indy was scary at the end of the year. Uncle Rico is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm always big on the Gardner Minshew story. And so, I like to see it. I thought it was funny that Fournette, it's it's great to play for a real quarterback, and Gardner Minshew outperforms Tom Brady. So,
right.
That's a little funny there, and maybe that's kind of part of the jive from the team to get at him. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, man. That's how the NFL is, though. If it's not your week, it's not your week. And, and I thought the Raiders was kind of a shock, too. I try to give my boy John Gruden credit where he's due. But, I thought the Carolina team was going to do a lot better than they did. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I thought Teddy Bridgewater played pretty well. They didn't really go to McCaffrey as much as I thought they'd go to, especially with receiving yards, and I feel like that's probably where they lost it there. I don't know if you watched that game at all, but they really stepped away from the screenplay with McCaffrey. But then towards the end, they relied heavy on the McCaffrey run when it was already too late. You're down, for the 4, and you just got to get a touchdown, and you just rely and run on, running.
Right.
Not going to work. So, but Teddy Bridgewater, 269 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, 22 for 34. Not the worst performance. Rushed for 26 yards. McCaffrey doesn't break 100. I feel like that's kind of big for him. Not a good way. You got Robbie Anderson catching for 114 yards, averaging 19 catch. Not bad. But I just feel like, with only 38 receiving yards for McCaffrey, I feel like, that might be a sign where maybe Bridgewater doesn't want to play the screen game. And, maybe that's why Newton's going to do well here, because he's good with that screen game from McCaffrey. So, time will tell. But, the Raiders played a great game. I think Derek Carr finally kind of stepped up to look decent. Didn't have a stellar performance, but looked good enough.
Right.
Josh Jacobs looked great in the backfield, almost breaking 100.
I like Josh Jacobs, man.
Yeah,
a lot.
Honestly, his stats are spot on with McCaffrey.
Right.
Spot on. For a head-to-head bout against McCaffrey, he performed 93 yards, 3.7 a carry. He had 3 of the touchdowns. Receiving, he had, gotta find it, 46 yards, 11.5 averaging per catch. He outperformed McCaffrey when he needed to. And, defensively, it's back and forth, but I think the Raiders stepped up. Losing Trent Brown early, they really stepped up to lose a big guy. They paid a lot of money in, a guy that, Derek Carr was going to feel real safe behind. They put a lot of balls in that basket, and for him to go down early, that's a big shakeup, and I think they performed well. So that was a pretty big upset for me. It could have been either way, but I think how they performed and where they performed was the bigger upset in the game as a whole. Ooh, Drew, was Bridgewater better than Mahomes? It depends how you look at a better quarterback. If you want touchdown passes when you got Josh Jacobs who's going to run it in, then I don't know. Him and who else were we talking about earlier? I don't know. There's a lot of quarterbacks in week 1 that were all on par with each other. I don't think there was a standout quarterback week 1. So, I guess it kind of just goes back to how you look at it. I don't think Mahomes had a stellar performance. I think he had a good performance. I don't dog Mahomes. I like Mahomes. I don't like his fiance, but I like Mahomes. But I don't think that he had some stellar performance to where, I would dog Teddy Bridgewater for it, if that's how I'm speaking on it. Patrick played better. Yeah. No, Mahomes played a better defense to an extent, though. I think, what do you think? Raiders, what would you pick? Raiders defense or Houston defense?
Raiders defense.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think he played a better defense.
Yeah, I think Raiders defense.
I don't think
better.
Mahomes played a tough defense. I think 3 years ago, Texans are a way better defense.
Oh yeah, easily.
Now, no. I don't think J.J. Watt didn't look that good. The whole defense didn't really look that good to me. So, I mean, I guess teach your own on that thought, but I think the Raiders have a great defense, even though they don't have Ronald Ollie.
Yeah, sad, man. So sad.
Rodgers,
Start getting some of these fat, you know what's out of here.
Rodgers, Ryan, and Wilson were the standouts. Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson, man, he doesn't get enough credit where it's due. He's always standing out every week. Week after week, he performs no matter what happens with Seattle. And that's one thing I got to respect about him. Aaron Rodgers, man, great week.
All right, you know what? I've been seeing this debate going around on Facebook, so I'm going to put it out there. And whoever's listening, comment yours as well. I'm going to need about 2 minutes to put mine together. Nick, you might need some time for yours too.
Okay.
I want your top 5 active quarterbacks in the league right now.
Okay. How about those Lions? Yeah, man, that's a tough break for the Lions. I know I used to work with that diehard Lions fan, and when I seen that drop in the end zone for the losing, dropping the game-winning touchdown, man, dude, I put myself in his shoes of how ticked he must have been. Yeah, that sucks. And it can happen to anyone. That fumble realistically could have sunk the Patriots if N'Keal Harry fumbles that at any worst point in the game, where say it's a tie game, he fumbles that, dude. Yeah, I don't know. That's a momentum killer too. You notice after that fumble, the offense never really got back jiving. It was more a defensive game right there. So Wilson can have a.
I'm going to throw my top 5 out there.
Minnesota.
So at the top, it's not really any order, but I'm going to put them up there. You got to go with Brady, obviously. I'm going to put Russell Wilson in there. I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes, just because, I mean, right now, the way he's playing and the way he's been playing. And then I'm going to have to put Drew Brees. And then to close it out, my 5th one, I'm going to go Cam Newton. No, I'm kidding. I'd probably go Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, my top 5 are in no order. Patrick Mahomes, definitely Drew Brees,
Yeah.
super underrated. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers for sure.
So do you put Brady in there?
I don't know if I do. It's hard though because I'm going off what I expect now.
No,
top
like
5 for this
right now.
season?
So if you had the opportunity, they said, "Hey, you got the number 1 pick. We're going to do a complete NFL redraft."
Yeah,
And
here's 5 guys
here's the 5 quarterbacks that you would sit there and go, "Okay, maybe I'll go this guy. Maybe I'll go this guy."
I mean, see, 'cause that's when you put it that way. I want Cam Newton, but
it's only one season. It's one season because I don't want you to think,
I
okay, well,
want
if Tom
Cam
Brady leaves
Newton
next
in
year.
there, but I don't think he's earned it yet, so I don't put him there. Dang, who
You
was
definitely
my
can't put him in
5th?
there.
Who is my 5th though? That's a tough one. Who do we got here? Let's see what these guys got. Jackson, Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers,
Who put Jackson in there?
and Kyler Murray. Oh, Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler Murray's not bad, but I don't know really what he's proven. Top 5 for Drew was Jackson, Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers, Prescott. I definitely don't put Prescott.
Woo! Drew!
I don't put Lamar, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, you can't put Lamar.
I don't put Lamar,
Yeah.
and that's not like a hater mentality. Well, I give credit where it's due. I think Russell Wilson. I mean, all of the guys, the 4 that I picked, for me, these guys are just stand-up quarterbacks, right? So Russell Wilson, he's a dog. He's performed regardless of what happens.
Russell Wilson's
In
the top
that
3
environment.
quarterback. I'll give him more than top 5. He's top 3.
Drew Brees has held the New Orleans Saints together for the epitome of the franchise.
Yeah.
He deserves credit where it's due. And I still feel confident if he was slinging the ball on my team.
Oh, yeah.
Rodgers, man, for a guy who was arguably going to be out of Green Bay, looked phenomenal week 1.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Him and Adams, man, whew, you couldn't write a better duo right now.
I know Drew's pumped about that, man.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. Tom Brady looks like every quarterback in the first year in Bruce's offense. Yeah, also true.
Now, you see, now, so who said that?
John.
All right, John, great point, because that is one thing that I said could be the biggest, I guess, con to this whole situation. Because let me tell you, Jameis Winston, he's not a terrible quarterback.
Yeah.
The problem, like, he's got a good arm. He threw for, we know the story, 30 and 30 last year, right? So it's not like he couldn't move the ball. The problem is, I think the play calling at times often killed them, where they would stall on drives, and then they would have to constantly play from behind, so you'd have to throw more. If they slow the game down, like even like this past weekend, watching the game, I didn't feel like their offense really had like a tempo, like a set tone to it.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously they had to play from behind, in the fourth quarter and things like that. But like they come out the first 2 drives, and outside of Brady getting, his first drive going, they really didn't look like they got much moving. Like, they came out those second, third, fourth drives, and it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yep.
And then you had the overthrow, obviously, and the picks didn't help them. But I just feel like you put the game, and I don't know if they've given Brady, the power to play call or whatever it is. Like, I know we didn't have that here. I know that was one of his problems. But it's almost like you've given him free range of the offense, and now all he wants to do is pass the ball, right? So, like, your first down play should, 9 times out of 10 be a run, right? And then second, depending on if it's second and medium, second and short, you might go back to the run. You might go, to a short pass or something like that. But that's also what the Bucs don't have here. And like I've said that from the beginning, the 3 things are going to kill them: their offensive line. There's no security blanket over the middle for Brady because there's not the Edelman, there's not the Welker, there's not the Deion Branch. You look at Brady; every year he's had that security guy.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was going to be Bruce Arians, because of his offense. And, people are saying, the offense is, not going to be for Brady. I mean, anyone could be in an offense, right? The problem is that you need to have the right play calls at the right times. And that's going to be the biggest thing for Brady, where, his arm too, like the guy's, 40, 43, 44, whatever it is. Right? I don't even know anymore.
43, I think you're right.
So, you're going to sit there and, he can't throw the ball 40, 50 times a game every game because they're playing from behind. Like, I personally think that the Buccaneers defense, for the most part, stepped up and they answered the bell. You had, what's his name? White and then Levante. They did their end. They both had 11 tackles apiece. The defense really didn't get too beat up by that offense, which that offense is very explosive in New Orleans. So, what happens if, Brady's going to throw 40, 50 times a game? You're not going to win.
Yeah.
So you got to stop getting from behind. You need to get out in front, and that's why New England was always so successful, and Brady was so successful, because he didn't have to play from behind. Now, I don't know if anyone else is going to disagree with me on this or not, but Brady's arm strength's gone down, man. Like, he was never the home run hitting, deep throwing quarterback that everyone thinks he is. And he made his money across the middle. So if you have to go deep ball to Mike Evans outside of the beautiful pass that he threw, you're going to be in trouble. Like, he needs to find that over the middle stuff, and he needs to get the screen game open, and from there, then you get the play action. And like Gronk, I'm sorry, man, but like, what do you have? 1 catch? He looked awful.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes too. And
like, I know Gronk's out of shape. We all know that. Like, the guy was off of football. He's out being a meathead, partying, like drinking, like whatever. And also, I don't know if you saw it, but I know I talked about it Sunday when we were watching the game, that they said he was out of shape and he couldn't run when he came to Florida because of the humidity. So, like, that's not helping him, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on, dude. You're getting all this money now. Like, it's time. Like, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you got, a bunch of older guys.
What I don't understand is, like, why
healthy.
Put him on that side and run to his side? Like, regardless, he's a big dude, right? Mm-hmm. So why not run behind him?
Well, I mean, he had a few good blocks, but I don't know. The whole offense just didn't seem prepared, whether that's preseason or not.
No, and I do think that has a big key. I mean, there's a lot of new faces.
Yeah, and that's like a lot. Like I said, week 4 and 5, you're going to see a lot of teams shape up. I think the problem that the Bucs are going to have is the schedule. Yeah. So I think they always have a tough schedule, but I think for Brady, he's going to play a lot of tough defenses, and it just is a lot to really get in tune on. By the time they wake up, I mean, I'm looking at the schedule now. Next week you have the Panthers. Could be a good rebound game.
I think they'll win that game.
I think the Panthers still give you a decent fight. The Broncos, you'll probably take that. But then you get back into the Chargers. We have a really fast defensive front. I mean, the Bears, we know what that is. But, I mean, then you're talking, you got Packers, Raiders. Before you know it, you're playing the Saints and Panthers again. Then you got the Rams, the Chiefs, the Vikings, Falcons. I mean, there's a lot of competitive teams and fast-paced teams that are going to come at him. And I don't know how much Brady can keep up with that fast offense. And, I mean, a lot of these teams, you're going to have to come with probably a hurry-up game or a really high-tempo offense nonstop. And the play calling's got to be on point, and I don't know if they're going to be there.
Do you think if Brady goes there and he's a complete bust, they go even 8-8 or 6-10, whatever, do you think it affects his brand at all? So right now you hear Tom Brady.
Think it affects his brand,
right? But right now you hear Tom Brady and you think I don't know if it's just me being a biased New England fan, but okay, best quarterback to play the game.
I don't think it affects his brand. I think it would affect his brand more if it happened in New England. I think people are gonna give did it affect Elway? No. Did it affect Peyton Manning? No. Did it affect Brett Favre?
But I still don't think even those guys.
I get that they don't really have the brand.
They're not on the level
the
that Brady is.
TB12 method.
Right.
They're not arguably they go as far as just from outside New England perspective of how people view them. I mean, I think it definitely hurts, but I think people take less worth in that because it's not New England. I think if he were to tank here for a couple seasons, I mean, last year didn't look great, so he looks terrible last year, and then you hop right into him losing this year, if that's what we're going with, and even maybe losing next year, if we're getting really aggressive with it, then I think it could affect him, but I think 3 years in New England looks a lot worse. But now he has no one to blame. I mean, yeah, you can blame Bruce, but at the end of the day, they're going to say you left one of the greatest OCs. You left arguably the greatest head coach. You left a dynasty to go perform for yourself and speak for Tom Brady, and you tanked. I think that is what's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
So there's the not having a blame, right? So it's going to be, he's old and but he willingly went there to prove and drop the ball. So that will hurt him. But like I said, I think him leaving is kind of also saving him because he has somewhere to push blame. So I don't know, we'll see how it happens.
Of course.
With that, we're going to take this quick break, and then we'll come back for a few minutes, and then that'll be the end of the show. Time's flying by. Stick around. You want a last-second chance to call? 508-222-1320. Oh, yeah, we're back for the last few minutes here.
Oh, yeah. I remember you.
Yeah, so let's see. It's coming back on comments. Crowds, all right. Well, when you said crows, I thought you meant crowds anyway. I thought you meant like just pestering little you-know-whats. So I really thought crowds anyway.
Are crowds coming back?
Well, I mean, some teams are allowed to have them, but didn't run them.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams are, like Chiefs are lower capacity.
Yeah.
And they're going to phase in more, which is a good point, too. I mean, the key to not having the crowds is, it gives a lot more tenure to a hard count quarterback. And for defense that, is a heavy blitz defense, they really get slowed down by focusing heavy on ball movement because, now all the cadences and all the fakes, it's really buyable with not a lot of noise. And they can say, like, the crowd noise. But, I mean, honestly, for how loud they said they were going to do it, it seems like they agreed to a lesser decibel because it didn't seem that loud to where, I mean, you could hear everything, which I kind of liked. I always thought that the team should be mic'd up anyway. So, I mean, that's just me. I
like it.
I enjoy it a lot more.
I like it. Sure, the stations don't like it, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, they just can't keep up with the bleeps and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just to hear all the smack talk and you know what I mean? Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm with it. I liked it a lot.
Get your chain snatched.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I wasn't a big fan about the chains, and I know you're on the same page.
Yeah.
But now that I understand why, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so I was reading on why he does it because he doesn't believe in tattoos and stuff.
Tattoos.
Which, I mean, I get. I don't know now. I feel like then you have so many ways to exemplify your feelings. Wear sleeves that have certain stuff on them.
Yeah.
Or, some certain stuff's allowed on the cleats, but not everything.
Right.
But, I get it's a mental thing. Right. I don't know. It's weird to me because, what do I know? As a fan about you wearing a gold chain, I don't know what it means. So, I feel like on your cleats speaks volume to when you show something or, an armband or whatever. So, I don't know.
No, I mean, I can definitely agree with you on that.
But, I mean,
on air.
Even though I don't like jewelry on players at all in any sport, more so just because it's a distraction and, it's not uniform. I like, uniform, camaraderie and unique look. But for me, just how ignorant it is to snatch it off and obviously that's worth a ton of money. It's just that's the crap that we don't need. And especially when we come out and not to get political, but we come out and we bark about unity, we bark about locking arms, and we bark about how booing locking arms is trash and we're all about unity here. Then you snatching chains off people. Jamie Collins ejected for punching somebody. You got fights on the field. I mean, there should have been another ejection that they didn't catch. I forget who it was, but we saw it in the Bucs game, I think.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans,
yeah, Mike Evans
been booted. Didn't get booted for a punch.
What the heck is his name?
Just tons of stuff to me.
It's gonna tick me off.
It's just all this crap that we see in
23. He's a cornerback.
I don't know. I can't think of it either. It'll come to us when we walk out the front door.
Oh, I'm gonna look it up because I have to get this out.
Didn't Aqib do the same? Yeah, I mean, I didn't like when Aqib did it either. That was one of the big drawbacks of why I didn't want Aqib was that the chain ripping and just the ignorance about it. And look, I'm a hard grit.
Marcus Lattimore.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Marshawn Lattimore.
So I'm a hard grit kind of guy. I respect a very physical player and a very up in your face trash talking player. I respect that. I myself would talk trash across from somebody. It's how you throw them off.
Great example is Brandon Browner. That's the kind of player I like.
Yeah.
In your face, tough, gritty, not going to back down.
XFL started it. Yeah, but where's the XFL now? Bankrupt.
Oh, they coming back, though.
Well, they'll probably come back, and hopefully The Rock can do it right. But, I mean, and I like the XFL, so I
think that something to compete against the NFL, honestly, would be good.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I like the farm aspect of it. I like the competing of it. I like in-your-face stuff, ripping off a chain. Prove it on the field, right? Here's my thing with the chain, too, and it's not even as much as, punching guys, because I love fights in hockey, but, it's allowed, and, hey, if you want to let two football players, fight on the sideline, I'm for it, as long as it's allowed, right? When it's not allowed, it's just stupid. You get ejected for nothing. Jamie Collins, you punch a guy, you're ejected, your team is now missing a key player. That's stupid. Embarrassing. Way to just disrespect your entire team, right? But when you're the Miami Dolphins and you lose a game, you don't look tough. You don't look like a bully. You don't look like anybody ripping off that chain. You look like a sore loser who just got their you-know-what kicked for 4 quarters. That's what it looks like. And I'm not saying like it was a dominating game, but like you lost and you come rip the chain off because you're a sore loser. That's crap. Get out of the NFL, okay? Sore losers are for the kids that play and they hate losing and they cry the whole car ride home and mom buys them ice cream and they feel better and then they go and lose again next week and it's the same thing. But guess what? They don't do jack in high school. They don't do jack for the rest of their life. They lose in life.
Nick's upset, guys.
Yeah, they lose for life. They lose in the job interview. They're upset that they didn't get the job and they blame everybody else.
Yep.
Okay? That's what that's for, not for the NFL. Okay? Not guys that are getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport. Okay? So when you rip chains off, that's crap. I don't care how you want to put it. And with that
is 9:03.
I'm just trying to read these comments. I like the XFL as a feeder system to the NFL. I said the same, Drew. I know me and you went back and forth like on the same point of like kind of like a farming system. I'm with it. I think there's a lot of talent that gets banged up hard in the NFL that could shine. And honestly, like, you know, I had said before, and I know you agreed a lot with, is like New England does well at farming guys and utilizing roster spots on guys who are nobody to everyone else, but they can use them and they can build them up. A lot of teams can't do that, and I think the XFL is great for that and a good tool for those middle-of-the-barrel guys. So, you know, I'd like to see you come back. Patriots, Seahawks, Super Bowl interception didn't hurt. Yeah. Anyway, now I'm knocking stuff over. We didn't touch on Drew's Red Sox thing.
I'm sorry, the who?
The Red Sox point.
I don't know who that is.
So you got to get up on your baseball.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will say that that's the kind of rookie I wanted them to bring in. I think, I think the Chris Sale comparison's pretty spot on. He looks great. Curious to see what he does. I'm glad that he's a righty. So I guess we'll have to see what he does, and I think that's why I wanted the Red Sox to get on, and I'm glad that hopefully, if all goes well, they found a guy like that, because we all know the Red Sox cannot farm pitchers, can't figure out how to do it. We can farm hitters, but we can't farm pitchers, so hopefully he performs like Sale, and hopefully we get a couple other guys that can come somewhat close, and hopefully Sale comes back from surgery and can throw for more than half a season. A lot of what-ifs. And on that note, I'm not playing the music. Still not playing the music. Oh, I'm an idiot. Someone cut my paycheck. I don't know what I'm doing tonight. But on that note,
you're an idiot.
Nick and Tim,
they're all going to laugh at you.
Signing off. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Enjoy week 2 of the NFL. I guess you can enjoy baseball, but no one's enjoying Stars. Baseball. Go Stars. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, Nick and Tim, Drew and Ryan.
2-ton out.
Signing off. MVP Sports Talk Radio from Attleboro. See you next Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m.